Yeah, that's what we do.
Probably my computer. I can't. It's all, you never know if it's your computer or my computer. So
Yeah, who knows, man.
I do have a dinosaur though, so I'm sure that has something to do with it.
Gotcha. I have the pro Wi-Fi, so you
Oh,
know,
okay.
not the best.
Nice. I didn't know you lived over there. You live over at the prop still?
Yeah,
Nice. Nice.
absolutely.
Cool. Yeah, I'm over in Avalon. I don't know if you know where that's at. I used to live in Pepper
Yeah.
Tree, but
Okay. Oh
Avalon's
yeah,
like
yeah.
on the other side. It's like more into Fairborn.
Okay.
But right on. Welcome. We're recording, so we're in.
Sweet.
Oh
Awesome.
yeah. Oh yeah, dude. I'm so excited. I'll have to just preface because I feel like this is gonna be a conversation I feel like could go forever. I'm trying to get them down to an hour so we can shoot to that, and if there's more to be discussed, we can always do another episode. But
Sounds great.
I have a feeling we'll have to cut ourselves off because I'll have tons of questions, and I'm sure you have tons to talk about.
Oh yeah, I can talk about this stuff for a while.
Right.
Many stories.
Have you been talking? The big reason I didn't want to I guess implore you to talk about the music specifically is you never know how much an artist has already gotten around. I mean, I know the album was just released relatively recently, just a couple weeks ago, right?
Yep, April 12th.
Okay. But I never know, like, I know you've done some stuff, but I don't know how in depth you've gone into. So I want to be careful not to make you feel like you're just repeating yourself if you don't feel like doing that.
Not really. Never feels like repeating. It's just trying to spread it as much as I can. So I don't think you can ever repeat it enough.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Right on. Well, I did just listen again. I feel
Cool.
like this was like the first deeper listen I got to have because the first time I listened to it twice the night it dropped, and it was right at midnight, right, that it came out.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, and I think I listened a couple times that night, but I was kind of moving around and finishing up the evening. So this is the first time I wanted to sit down and have like an immersive listen through. So I'm glad I got to
Yeah.
do that. Thank you for waiting a little bit so I could do it.
No problem at all, man. I'm glad you could really take it in.
Definitely, definitely.
Cool.
Well, where do you want to start? What do you want? I know I have tons to ask, but I'm sure how has it been? I guess that first things first, how has the reception been? How does it feel to like have it out? I know that's always a crazy experience for completing something.
The reception's been good. Like, my main audience, is like the people I know
Mm-hmm.
around here. So like, and they've all seemed to really be really receptive of it and like it a lot. And I know specifically the song that I put on there about Scott from
Yeah,
Right, is really stuck with a lot of people around here. So that's been really cool to hear people's just reactions to that and that it's been able to help them in some way. That's always the goal. But like, I've wanted to release an album since I was like a little kid. So like having like the actual physical copy and doing it's just like a dream for me. So I'm like so happy out and
yeah,
that I've done it. Like it feels really good.
that's awesome, dude. Have you got any like have you made vinyls or like CDs or stuff that you've had like a physical copy of too, or is it all digital?
I got CDs, yeah.
Oh, nice. Oh yeah.
I have them on my web. There's like a Square Store website I have that I'm selling them on. But the goal is at some point, like, for like, I guess like I had the idea for like the people who are like really big like fans that like stick, like the people that come to mind are like Emma Robinson. I mean, Emma Bratton. Sorry, I have multiple Emma friends in their names. Emma Bratton around
Uh-huh.
here. Like Dean McKenzie and Justin Matthews are like people that like come to like all my gigs, and Haley Marshall, like people from Right State that have just like always been supporting me since I started doing this. I feel like I would want to make vinyls specifically for them,
Yeah,
like give
that's
them as
sweet.
a thank you gift. Yeah.
That's great. That'd be really
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, I still haven't got to catch a gig, dude. I really want to. I know you said you rescheduled the one that you were gonna do tonight?
Yeah. Yeah. Last night, I believe. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha, gotcha. Yeah,
Yeah. I think it's gonna be. Oh, sorry. Yeah. No. Yeah. The Zoom one. Yeah.
uh, oh,
Yeah.
you're gonna do a Zoom one today? That was the plan?
Yeah. That one's gonna be next week now. So.
Okay, great, dude. I'll try and catch that one because I went back and watched part of the live performance. I've caught like most of the ones that have been like one song playthroughs. I've caught a lot of those where you're playing with, or the one you were playing with Eric and
Oh yeah.
Adam and yeah. Um, but that's great, dude. That's awesome. That's got to be a great feeling that you're taking the next step and completing it.
Absolutely. It's
um,
a big project. So.
yeah, yeah, no doubt. Uh, trying to think where to begin further.
Yeah.
When is how did last night go? How did last night's performance go?
Oh, I didn't actually get one last night, but like
Oh, okay.
yeah, the one was supposed to be tonight, but I forgot that there was actually supposed to be another gig that I was gonna do in person at a brewery last night that had to get rescheduled, obviously.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, that I saw that
So,
was promoted. I didn't know if that was another quarantine jam or something, but I saw that was the event was promoted on my notification.
yeah.
That must be what I was thinking of. But right on, yeah, dude. I can't wait to catch like a full performance of one, and
Oh, yeah,
hopefully,
I can't wait to play live again. Oh
yeah,
my god.
I imagine. Yeah, dude. That's like my definitely like. I mean, it's still like not that big of a burden to carry, considering the burdens you could carry in this situation, but live music's definitely what I'm missing the most right
Oh
now.
my god, dude. Like live concerts and like seeing my favorite bands live is like the closest thing to like a religious experience
Yeah,
like
dude.
that I so like oh
I
I miss
totally agree.
it.
Right on. Well, one thing I want to do then, what all do you feel like, what have you talked about so far with other people? What have been like a lot of the just kind of, I guess just out of curiosity as a friend, wondering like, what's it been like discussing it with other people, and like, has it been mostly just having people share the music and play it on stations, or have you done anything like this yet to where you've done like, gone in depth about making it and,
I did a brief. I've been trying to get people to share it, and like I've told people personally about it. And I did a brief interview with Sound Valley, which is like a group in Dayton and like Miami area. That they interviewed me for like a couple minutes and asked me about like what it's about and kind of how I recorded it and stuff like that. So that's the basis of what I've done. And
nice.
submitting to playlists and stuff. That's the big thing. Like I've been submitting
Nice.
Spotify playlists because music industry is crazy how that all works now. So
Yeah, yeah. I've learned the majority of what I know in that regard is from my cousin because he's in a band, and I never really realized that was like the especially for independent artists, like that's like the one of the from what he's told me, that's like the one of the most important steps is just trying to spread it on playlists, which I didn't even think about. But I hear people talk about all the time, like they love Spotify compared to Apple for that because they give you these suggested playlists, and it's more accessible to find new artists rather than to have to go digging, looking for them, or finding them on the internet. It all kind of, it's kind
yeah,
of
it's definitely really cool. And very interesting, but also the music industry is crazy
volatile.
and hard.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the truth. I guess that is at least that's the comfort in all arts. I guess is you can connect on with everybody. But music especially, I feel like even more than film. Like it's in film, there's so many other positions that you can get onto and make like a living. It might not be what you really want to do, but even in music, if you're compromising and not doing what you want to do, it's still harder to like make a living that way.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can only imagine. But you act too, so that we've never talked about that. I'm curious about it. What made you go? If you've been playing for music, obviously, like a long time, you said the guitar literally sounds like your third arm, or seems like your third arm. Uh, so how long have you been a musician?
I've been playing guitar since I was in like kindergarten.
Wow, that's
I was kind of like self-taught for a bit, and then when I was in like fifth grade, I started working with a teacher, and he like opened my eyes to like so many great guitarists and musicians and stuff, and just like completely shot me to the next level and inspired me. So yeah, Gary Sipico is like he's a pretty big guitarist in Ohio and taught me a ton. So and I started writing music in like middle school ish. So
okay.
yeah.
Nice. Well, what made you when you got to college, and had you been acting before that too?
Yeah, I've been acting since like fourth grade, maybe, I think. Yeah. Um,
Nice.
and I just love that too. So
Yeah. Heck yeah, dude. That's great. A man of many passions. I respect that.
yeah. They intersect in weird ways. Yeah.
Yeah. I was just talking to my buddy yesterday. He actually, one of my best friends from high school, he made a doc. It was like a documentary about the Woodstock documentary. He kind of
Huh.
breaks down the kind of how important, I guess, reflecting on the importance of the film, how the filmmaking is so vital to that experience too, and like immortalizing it, the cultural event itself, and which was a cool approach. I haven't seen Woodstock yet. I really want to, but yeah, you're just talking about that, and it has me thinking. I feel like I've had many points in my life where I've just gotten real like deep into thought about how all of the different art forms connect. But I feel like music and movies, especially, like they just or video and technology in general, like the pairing of the two seems so fittingly intertwined with each other when they come together, and they give access to like have every kind of art form, whether it's like drawing for merch or like logo designs and stuff like that, or what have you, and the different music festivals and stuff you can literally do. It's like they've seemed the most able to come together and bring literally every aspect of art together when they're combined. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
okay.
And just like learning how to do it too, there's just like so many similarities like between like acting theory and music creation. Like
Interesting.
so interesting how they can combine. And I had a teacher back home who like kind of like showed me a lot of that more. It was kind of cool. Like he was a guitar teacher and an acting teacher, and he'd be like, oh, so he'd be able to approach acting from a guitar player's perspective for me. So that was really cool.
That is sweet, dude. It's funny because the older I get, the more it seems like, I don't know if it's something that's becoming more common in this day and age or if it's always been that way, but I feel like it's becoming more common for people to have more than one art that they're not only like passionate and interested in, or passionate about and interested in, but like something that they've become like skilled people in, like in both. It's crazy that so often you hear about like people have just devoted their life only to music or to acting or painting or whatever, and that's, you can spend a lifetime just doing that thing. It's endless. So it always seems, it's, I think, more intimidating and like harder to balance when, and feel like you're not missing something when you do it, but it's also in a different way even like extremely rewarding when you do engage with multiple different things.
Yeah,
So it seems weird that it's, I don't know, I feel like that happens more today than it used to. It used to be like you're one thing and you say that.
totally. And it's interesting because it's so like different for certain people, you know?
Mhm.
Like some people are like, I think there's total like also merit in like just being a master at something too. That's super cool. But I think there are some people. It's another way. One of my teacher, that same teacher, who's like the guitar teacher and the acting teacher, Jamie Koth. Uh, he said there are certain people that are so he would say there are certain people where so like music is this and you are this. You know,
Hmm.
like you can't. There are certain people you just like can't contain
Yeah. Yeah.
things. They're just like they got to do more.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I feel that way. But that's interesting. It's nice connecting with people that also feel that way, because it can be, I don't know, it's for me, I often feel it almost brings out my insecurities more, I think, from doing that than it would if I would just stick to one thing. But it also is more fulfilling that way. Like I feel like I would kind of go crazy if I just tried to, because I mean, I've only been playing, I've started playing guitar like 2 years ago now, and it's kind of been a slow burning process, especially in the theory side of it, rather than just the feel and getting like enjoying playing and whatnot. But it's been such an awesome release for me too, because I felt like it was at a time where I was getting really locked into just doing film stuff, and I've always like had a big passion for music and movies and like and podcasting too now, and it's like sometimes it's like I can't get my brain straight in one place, but I think it does. It's more in line that way than it would be if I just made myself. I feel like I'd start to hate film if I didn't have take 10 minutes to play the guitar sometime and stop whatever I'm working on, or vice
Oh
versa.
god, totally know what you mean.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Heck
like
yeah.
my like here specifically like studying acting at school, music's like a total escape from it.
Yeah.
Like the acting world is a lot.
Do you feel like you still have I mean, I'm guessing you're pretty advanced. If you've been playing that long, you feel pretty, does music feel almost second nature to you now, where, and good for that you can go back to it, or because acting has, feels like something you're still like making rapid growth through?
I think I mean I'm still making rapid growth in both.
Yeah.
But like yeah, there's always more to know. you know, like I know a lot about music, and I'm a lot about like the main thing I'm like focusing on learning about more and more now as I keep writing music is like songwriting theory and what more I can do. I could always know more about music theory. Like there's always more I could know and dive into. But you know, the lazy musician comes out
Yeah.
sometimes.
Hell yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I figured I get that definitely. I guess that's the making stuff, especially too, probably allows you to feel like it's still changing and exposing new things to it. That's it's funny because I don't know if I ever told you, but I'm sure or you might have seen it before. But I'm a huge Grateful Dead fan,
Mm.
and I love how John Mayer talks about why the Dead was such a great opportunity for him because he was getting older and he's starting to feel like he's almost exhausted all the his style of his potential to make the kind of uh, music he was making in particular, which it was changing in its own way a lot throughout his career for sure. But it felt like in his mind, it sounded like he was craving something new too, and like the fact and that music getting with the Dead and playing it, that music opened up doors for him that he thought never existed. Like he felt like he was starting to know everything he could about music and that it was becoming too stagnant. So I think that's really cool. Definitely, it's always good to be a lifelong learner. So, but it's
Oh yeah,
also harder. The more you do, it's harder to find places that feel original and don't just feel like the same thing over and over.
yeah, absolutely.
Hell yeah. Well, let's
Crazy.
get into. I want to know about. Unless you want to take it a certain direction, feel free. But
Oh no, man, go wherever. I'm fine
hell
with
yeah,
whatever.
hell yeah. Well, I want to know like let's go song by song because I
Okay.
want to know where your headspace was with all of them. The
Okay.
opening the opening skit is amazing. I love it. It was so unexpected too because like especially with your EP it's such a the like the music's so tender and like blissful to like sink in. You can it's definitely something that I can just sit down and like lose myself in that I wasn't expecting a skit with the kind of work that you do. So it was a nice surprise and it was really goofy too. What went into that? What sparked that idea?
Um, so like going back to the EP, like the EP was like uh kind of like to just prove to myself that I could like do it. So like it was a lot less structured and like it was just like songs that I had written to that point that I really loved and I just wanted to release it. But this new album I wanted to like have like a central theme and go like into something really really personal about me. And I listen to a lot of like progressive rock and metal and stuff like that where they do weird crazy interesting, and I'm a big Pink Floyd fan, so I love all the crazy little transitions and intros and things like that. But like the whole like theme of the album is me adjusting back to my like normal life after I went through chemo for 2 years. Like that's like the central what it's all about, and it all ties together to tell a story about and just like changing and growth into becoming who I am right now. And I wanted, I wanted to take it kind of a little literally, where I had myself working on myself in a garage. That's
Yeah, dude, it gave me like strong like Midwestern Frankenstein type vibes, and I figured that was knowing the. I mean, I'd been following your stuff and heard what, and I think I talked to you too. You told me, I think we talked after some show one time. You told me you're working on an album called the name of the album aspect of. Did you change it from aspects to aspect? Did it used to have an S? I don't know why.
it should have an S, so it does.
Oh, gotcha. I don't
Yeah.
maybe. Okay, gotcha. I missed that. Oh yeah, yeah. I think it. Huh. I think.
It got my like the metadata got screwed up at one point on Spotify, so it deleted the S, but
Gotcha,
it's back
gotcha.
in there now.
Okay, it might have been because I added it immediately. I know it can be sometimes the
Right.
Apple Music's bad about that too. Like it'll drop tracks for some reason, and you got to like re-upload it to your
Yeah.
library. But hell yeah. Anyway, I just want to make sure I got the name right.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
but I knew that's what that was kind of the general theme you were going for, and what you were going to talk about a lot in it. And I knowing that as at the beginning, especially with it being like I felt like it was a play on I didn't like a play on words of like tuning an instrument and stuff too, like you tuning yourself, like that was really cool. That was a really unique way of doing it. And then I love that it went from that into this like real dreamy like soft like but there was like it felt like a proper build up, especially when it goes into dopamine.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
that in that sports picked up and much more like feels like you're running 100 miles per hour.
Yeah.
But that's great. Oh yeah. Well, I guess going there. What with Dream Castaway? What was or if you
So
want, honestly, just go on a tangent if of just the whole like I want to know why you structured it the way you did. Like working with my cousin on music has made me learn how complicated and how intricate it can be. Sometimes it can be very free form, but this felt very organized and like everything seems very very deliberate and like it's working towards something and like flowing in and out and the midpoint and everything. So I'm curious where your headspace was in organizing the track list and just that whole process.
yeah, I mean, there's a few songs that I wrote first that I like knew were like where they lied. Like as I wrote them, I kind of figured out like, oh, this one's definitely how I want to close it. Like Dream Castaway is like a very like inviting song, kind of like there's a lot of lyrics in there of like being invited into my brain and stuff like that. So I wanted to keep that as the intro. Um, when I wrote Relate, I like as soon as that song started getting written up, I was like, oh, I know what this album is about and I know what I want to write about. And then I just kept writing songs and I like tried to stick around the central theme of like growth and adjusting to like being an adult and going through a new phase of my life and trying to figure it out. And the songs just kind of came and like I kept writing them and there were points where it's like, oh, I need something here that's a different vibe, if that makes sense. And
Mm-hmm.
like
Yeah, definitely.
the mental track was the one that I wrote last, Finding a Groove. And I was like, I felt like I just needed that. And I love that sort of like Andy McKee, Khaki King, John Gomm sort of like crazy guitar stuff. And I've always wanted to write one myself and finally worked up the courage to do it.
Nice. Yeah, I was wondering. What was Khaki? What was it again?
Khaki King?
Khaki King. Yeah, I know you mentioned that's a girl, right?
Yeah, she's like the one who's like modernized that style. She's
Where
badass.
does John Gomm? Because John Gomm was the only one my cousin showed me Passion Flower, which is blew
Yeah.
my mind. I've never. It was like probably the most original approach to music I've heard ever, like ever in my lifetime for this
He's
thing.
like an entire band in
Yeah.
one.
Well, I texted my cousin because I was trying to find the video right before we did this. I was like, "What is his name?" I thought it was John Gomm, but I was spelling it wrong. I couldn't find him, and he sent me the link, and I told him that and I was just listening to Finding the Groove at that point, and I was so excited when that started playing because the one time I have seen you play live was in the D Lab when you played. I can't remember what song you played, but
Yeah, August Rush.
yes, that's what it was. That's what it was. And I'd just seen, I think, actually, no, I hadn't even seen the John Gomm video yet. So that style of playing, you were the first person I had ever seen do it. And it absolutely blew my mind. And I was like, that is so cool. So when I saw John Gomm too, it was like, reminded me of that. And it really is. Yeah. He was saying, when he sent me the video, he's like, when I was telling him about that you're a musician, he's like, he's got to be a one-man band then if he's able to do that. That's insane. But I was happy that came on. That was because I was wondering if there were going to be any points in the album. And it was a nice treat right before close.
Yeah, and that's a whole song where what I wanted there was a message I wanted to tell with a song, an album of like unless you want to get to this later as we work through each track. But
No, dude, go for it, dude. Go for it. We can jump around.
all right, but I wanted to write a song about like trying to like when I feel like I'm like on top of my shit or my life, I don't really know it until I'm not anymore. And I didn't know how to write lyrics about that. Like I just like that's the only way I knew how to like say that is just like describe that. So like I felt like I had to make an instrumental about it. So I wanted to make stuff with like builds of like, oh yeah, things are going great, but then bam, something fell over.
Yeah.
Pick it back up, and then there's like the whole section where things really change halfway through, where it's like, okay, things are like really ramping up and becoming crazy, and it falls apart, and then you gotta just get back with the groove again.
That's wild. Yeah, I need to listen to that again. So that was kind of you intentionally. Were you playing things that technically musically wouldn't work, but worked because that was the way you were structuring the song, or was it? Because I didn't notice. Were you like actually falling? I guess I'm curious, like how that worked in your mind, how you manifested that trying to recall the song, all the parts of it. But so what was it? What happens when in the song musically when you like lose it? I guess, quote unquote.
It's majorly like the build up and the energy. There's a part like halfway through the song specifically where like the main groove and melody of the song that I've been doing the whole time just switches into this long, just big build up that explodes. Yeah,
Gotcha. Nice,
like
nice.
energy and crazy other shit. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's really sweet, dude. That's cool that you structured it that way. Yeah, and I love. I mean, one of my favorite things about your music is that the lyrics and the music feel so intertwined in a way that a lot of other music doesn't. And I think is like really cool that I mean, this isn't like this is very different than like being in a band or like but it's also different than than a lot of singer songwriters too, because you're clearly like masterful with the guitar, and I feel like it's like a different type of band, but you're layering things so nicely, and they feel so interconnected with the lyrics too, that it's all, and you clearly, I mean, you definitely have much more like eloquent and um, poetic lyrics than a lot of stuff that's more straightforward, I think, which makes it really fun. But I love that you do that like throughout the whole album. It's like it feels like you've just read a book, and then but then you have one track that's right before the closer that is just totally stripped down to a guy and his guitar, but it still sounds so dynamic the way that, because you bring that style to it. So that's really, I think you do a really good job of expressing that. You can feel it that it's like it's rigid, but it's also like very melodic too. Like you can definitely like sway to it, and it's honestly it's such a strange. It's neither unsettling or like completely soothing to hear that kind of style, but it's so uh engaging, like it's hypnotizing really in a way that I haven't heard a lot of like new music be. So yeah, I'm really excited that you did that.
I really appreciate that.
I think Relate is my favorite track. I love that one
Yeah.
too. Yeah,
I've been getting that a lot from people.
yeah. I think it's one of your most played.
Yeah, when I play that live, I like get into place, man.
But
That's like the song that ties all of them together on the album. Like I said, yeah, that song. So how I feel about like just everything that I've gone through, like specifically coming out of chemo treatment, and like I spent like 2 years of my life just like focused on that and kind of like just keeping my health and staying alive was like something
right,
on for like 2 years. And then coming out of that and just like going back to like normal stuff. Oh, you're in college now. You're just trying to be a college kid and do regular life. It's such a weird transition where it's just like, how do I even like talk to people sometimes because it just feels weird, you
yeah,
know?
dude. Yeah,
It's hard to explain in words. I felt like I had to put it in a song because like I don't really, and like other cancer survivors are like totally like when I talk to them about it, they like get it. They're like
yeah.
totally get it, like, and it's just, yeah, I don't know. It's hard.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, I've been very fortunate in my life not to really have anything incredibly unsettling. I mean, I've had nothing like that, like you say in the song a lot. It's like something that's completely altered a large duration of my life, and just really makes you face like your health and mortality and stuff. Like that's really intense, and I have to experience as a teenager right before your like formative years is like, yeah, I can't even imagine. And but I think it really, for people that haven't experienced, it's also soothing, just because I think one of my biggest insecurities as a person trying to connect with other people and not having experienced anything like that is I want to be there for them, but not make them feel like I know what they're going through, and that you can actually understand it. And I feel like that's so perfectly stated in this. I'm sure that only cancer survivors can really connect with in the same way, but I'm sure like your family, when they hear that, they like, especially there's so many lyrics in it that are addressing like the experience of being like the relationships you have when you're in that and you're trying to navigate them and handle the stress of it all while also being like maintaining your part of being healthy in that relationship and being there for each other. So
Yeah.
I think it's really powerful, man. I know like it's gonna be it's a moving experience to hear in headphones, but yeah, I really look forward to hearing that one in person because I'm sure the energy you feel in a room when when something like that happens is that's what you live for, you know, like that is it.
Yeah. And yeah, it's yeah.
Hell yeah, dude.
Very personal one, yeah.
That's so. What made you go from that into? I mean, obviously, I know there's clear, there's obvious reasons. I know of that had to be a whole like devastating experience too, to feel like you're adjusting to that and overcoming things. And then I know that everybody. It seems like I didn't know Scott. I saw him perform once in the D Lab too, and but I hear stories about him. It's like someone I wasn't even connected to and or had even met or spoke to, but it seems like everybody who ever came in contact with him was like absolutely moved by him, which is such a rare thing, especially for like people in like a community, you know, like those people are oftentimes even more important gems than the John Lennons of the world or the celebrities that are like this speakers with like a lot of power, you know, because it's rarer to find them, I think, in communities. So there's something special in its own way with people like that. But what made you put that at the center of the album?
Um I think that's a that's kind of a good question. But
I imagine it's tough though, so no rush.
yeah. I guess it felt right to just be there.
Yeah, it definitely
It's a
does.
shift
Like,
in it's a shift in like feeling too, but like not too much of a shift.
uh-huh.
But like I really wanted to have that voice memo in there because like it's just like I don't know. I felt that's something that was just like very personal to me, and I wanted to have it before it and go into that. And that was something when I was writing a lot of this, like when he passed away, was like that happened while I was writing the songs for this album. So it's kind of in the middle of it too, I guess, if that makes sense. You know,
Right. Yeah,
middle of the
dude.
process.
Yeah, that makes complete sense.
Yeah, but that God, he's just such a caring, loving, funny person. Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Yeah, you can tell even like someone not even knowing him, he had me laughing just with a voice memo talking about olives and corks in between your teeth. Like you can tell he not only did he love music because of the just the nature of it, like making you feel great, but he seemed to like have fun with it too, you know, like that's
Absolutely, yeah. He made you take things seriously enough, but not too
yeah,
seriously.
that's great. That's I feel like that's a life lesson a lot of people try like reiterate a lot, but there's only certain people that can really like make that clear to you and like and live it day in day out. And teachers especially are definitely like yeah some of the most important people to be able to do that. So Coda is about him too, right? That's like okay. That's what I thought. I'd never that dude. That is such a. I looked up coda today too, what that meant, and I didn't know it was like a musical term. I didn't know what it was. That seems. That's. There's stuff like that is just like reminds you of the deep intertwined nature of the universe and how connected everything really is. I think there's very it felt like that it feels like one of those songs that like really belongs, like it really mattered to be made and was supposed to be made, you know, like I think everything feels like that in some sense, like if it wasn't gonna happen then it wouldn't have happened, but there's just moments that just connect like that, and that's it's a very powerful moment. I really love like that's I love how everything's structured in the album. It feels like such a ride and so uh such a vulnerable and honest experience of what you went through. So that's hard, man. That's like the hardest part of anything in making shit is like being true and people
Yeah.
connecting with it. But you've got a hell of a talent.
Thank you.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
it's the part that I always worry about when I'm writing songs is if I get too personal that other people won't be able to understand or
Yeah.
like, feel a connection with it. That's always like what I try to want to be able to aim for, because like, and I like describing what my songs are about, but I also like leaving some.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
But
Yeah, that's
yeah, and
also
I want to be able to write personal messages in a way that people can still relate to them.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Which is funny because I think I mean even the beginning stages of a few songs I've wrote, like I think that way too sometimes, where I'm like, could anyone? It feels where I feel like I'm being too dramatic almost or something, or like too emotional, and it's like it's gonna push people away rather than want them to listen. But I guess that a lot of that depends on listeners too. Some people enjoy like
Yeah.
music that can make them sad, and it's with a weird relationship. I'm definitely one of those people. I mean, I like really exciting music and pop and fun rock and stuff too. But I think the ones that take you into a real spiritual place, those are the ones that I really connect with. So I think that's it's kind of futile to focus too much on that, I guess, but it does make sense to hone it as well, so it doesn't just like not make any sense to anybody. But
Yeah. You gotta just do what the song wants.
yeah, yeah, let it guide you. Follow the muse. That's definitely that's what I yeah that's probably the most important lesson I've learned in art so far, and in doing anything with it is you really don't. You can only prepare. You should prepare as much as you can and give the time that's necessary. But it's always damn near impossible to gauge how much time any of it's actually going to take, because it just like pulls you along for the ride and it lets you know when it's complete or not. And if you just have to, that can be so frustrating because you just want to be done with the project a lot of times, and are like, you feel like it's almost
Oh yeah.
there, and then you're like, wait, there's still like another 100 hours to put into this or something.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Are you gonna be releasing any of your music? Like stuff that you've been working on?
Yeah, I'm working on a couple things with my cousin right now. So I had just been when I started playing, I just learned like all the open chords, learned a couple bar chords and stuff like that, and tried to get comfortable holding tempo and shit, the basics. And but even with that, I just like I I felt very I gravitated towards wanting to write stuff immediately and not or just using like whatever I had. And it helps a lot that he cared about it and wanted to be a part of it. And he's done way more than I ever expected he would. He's fully produced them now, and he's going to mix and master them. And
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah, dude, I'm really excited. It's weird. We've basically right now we've got well, not everything, I guess. We have almost every song, at least like a demo or track laid down for it, and we just got to keep messing with it now, I guess. But it's just weird hearing it so produced and when it was just very simple chord progressions from the get-go. But so it's been really fun getting to do that. But yeah, I think we'll release it I think he's planning on like sometime at the beginning of 2021.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Super cool. Super
Yeah, I'll have to
cool.
send you some of it, dude. I'd love any feedback. That would be
Oh
amazing.
hell yeah, dude! I'd love to hear it. Love to.
Definitely. Awesome, dude.
I've also started teaching songwriting and guitar lessons recently. So
Really? Dude, I will definitely have to if you're making any posts, I'll be on the lookout for them to share them and stuff.
absolutely.
Oh yeah. How's that going?
Oh
Doing them
yeah,
online?
yeah. Online, and there's like a few people that are like the only people I see around here. So they
Uh-huh.
come. There was one doing one with Mark Anthony Howard, and we were 6 feet apart in like a courtyard.
That's great. You're measuring it out. You're all right there.
Yeah,
That's great.
that's fun. I love teaching. Super cool.
Nice, dude. That's awesome. That's great to do to go back and give. Right on. So I think where were we? What were Resting Road and Leave? What were
So Resting Road is about like my hometown, Cleveland Heights. Um, I like really love my hometown, and leaving it's always been a little hard because I like Dayton a lot, but I always got that place in my heart for
yeah.
Cleveland Heights, and specifically during when I took a gap year before I came to college, and one of the ways that I would think a lot about things just while I was going through treatment and just kind of stuck there, I would take walks like around midnight down these back roads in Cleveland Heights that are just beautiful and like super relaxing, and where I think of lyrics and just kind of decompress. And I've walked down the streets dozens to hundreds of times with my friends where we just goof around walking down the street around like midnight, and specifically in the summer it's just beautiful and people leave their like porch lights on and it's just like a really peaceful, welcoming environment. So I just wanted to write a song that was kind of an homage to Cleveland Heights and where I grew up and all that sort of stuff.
Nice, dude. Do you think you're gonna go back there after you graduate? Do you want to live there, or do you think you'll go exploring and stay in other places and come back there one day? Or
I would be fine living in Cleveland, but I do want to like explore more places more.
yeah,
I traveled as much as I'd like, and I'd like to try living in other places just to have the experience of doing it and see. Like, I think Cleveland would be a place I'd be totally content living.
nice, nice, dude. Yeah, I'm always like, at this point in my life, I'm just like, I really don't know. I had
Yeah.
plans for once graduation happens, which is I guess this week, but those are all going to be put on hold, which I think is, I think that's fate. I have no
Yeah.
quarrels with staying in Ohio for, especially, I mean, I want to see family. I felt like kind of rushed off anyway. Not that I'm happy Corona happened so that I could spend more time with my family in next year, but um, if you find ways to, I think you always you got to be prepared, and be ready to
Really.
be anywhere. And I know one day I will move around and do stuff, but in that time will come when it's supposed to. But it's honestly, I'm kind of grateful for getting to slow down now and kind of take it and appreciate it, because I feel that way about my hometown too. In some sense, it's also, there's a lot of things I don't really care for, and um, maybe more bitter about than I should be. But I do I think Ohio is really the biggest thing. Like, I feel like Ohio as a state has been my playground, and I haven't traveled a lot to other states or anything. I've gone to Nashville twice. That's the one I really have connected with in the past 5 years, and Tennessee is really the only other state I've really felt like I've bonded with. But
Yeah.
Ohio has been, I've done the most of my traveling, just, getting in the car with friends and driving 3 hours to some part of Ohio, whether it's Cleveland, or I went to, one time we went to, I think it's in Chillicothe. It's some national park, Buzzard's Roost, I think is what it's called. And it's like the highest point in Ohio. It's out in the hills, and it just looks real, real pretty. And just stuff like that. I feel like it's gonna be weird. That small town feel is going. I feel like Ohio is like the ultimate small town.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
It's like a bunch of different small towns all connected. I mean, you have some big cities, but there's only like 3 or 4, and uh, yeah, it's gonna be weird leaving it. But there's a lot of other stuff to see, so it'll be
Yeah.
exciting. Um, what's next musically? Do you have any plans? Are you just gonna ride this wave for a while? And I guess you're probably looking forward mostly to thinking about playing it live now, whenever you can.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I don't. Yeah. I want to keep focusing on like right now is promoting this album and getting it out there to as many people as I can, some in ways I can. But yeah, playing live is going to be like the big thing I'm looking forward to the most. But
Nice.
I don't. I've started like in my quarantine time. I've had some very little songwriting ideas. I'm kind of blocked lately, and like I kind of like I'm figuring out where to go next, what I should talk about after this, because this album was so personal.
Mm.
Like, yeah.
Can you repeat that? It lagged real bad. I think it'll hopefully adjust.
Oh yeah. Which part? Which part? You know where I stopped?
You were talking about writing stuff in quarantine, and like how that's been. You're kind of figuring out what you want to say next.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's pretty much the gist. Like, it's such a personal album. I don't know what's next for me to talk about yet, and I'm kind of figuring that out.
Gotcha. Nice. Yeah, that makes sense. What about acting? What do you want to? Where do you see that going? I feel like that's something I haven't learned about you. Do you think when you get out of school, you'll kind of equally distribute your time focusing, or does it just kind of depend which one brings more opportunities first, type deal?
I think it's more that, yeah. But I want to do both equally because I love them both. for different reasons.
No.
But
You
I
write
love the
it? What's that?
love the collaboration of theater and acting. Like it's just like you're just a piece of everything, this bigger thing. That's what I really like about that.
Gotcha. You think you'll ever go to join a band or start a band or anything? You have any aspirations for that eventually? Or do you want
Um,
music to be not as collaborative?
I'm thinking that that's yeah. I'm thinking that that's like the next step that I might need to take is find people to write with.
Interesting. Nice. Nice. What drove you to that?
Yeah. Um, I I think collaboration is just good for any piece of art. Like even the songs I have written, I've worked with like my songwriting teacher back home. And I think it's always helpful to just have input and more minds are always better than one.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. You made this with your dad too, right? Didn't he run the studio for you?
Yeah, he helped me record it and everything. Yeah.
Nice. Did you guys rent out? Do you have a studio of your own, or did you go rent one out?
So my dad's he is just a sound engineer and he
Oh,
used
that's
to work
perfect.
at a commercial recording studio that has kind of a little bit gone under lately. So we still had access to it, and it's actually going to be getting sold soon. But we got to what's it called use it before that happened. So
Nice.
it's
That's good. Perfect timing.
a lucky little thing that I have that I've been able to use. Yeah.
Nice, dude. That's great. What's that like? I've always wanted to. We're actually Max, my cousin, has been telling me it would be really cool to form a family band because my sister plays piano and my dad plays bass. And he was saying that we could whatever the music that I had written that he's producing for me. He said it'd be really cool if we were all in a group. And my dad's always been. I started more in film and was always into that. But I did show choir in high school, which was like my first real experience like engaging with any music. But it's always been his big passion, and just it's very exciting to. I guess did you guys play together too? Is he playing the instruments, or was he mostly just like collaborating with you to help get it made?
He's a sound engineer and a classical guitar major, like a double major. But
Oh,
I didn't really play with him. But yeah, he was majorly there to just he helped me get it made and like help me get the first couple mixes done and get it into a place where we had another guy mix it too that he works with. But he helped me get it all captured and like get the right performance quality. Like we do lots of takes and get the right ones, and he'd show me how like all the mixing and stuff worked and like how the board worked. It was really cool to like learn that stuff from him and see him do it.
nice, dude. Yeah, I imagine that's got to be special. I'm sure he was excited too. That's got to be surreal from his position to see you taking off flying like that.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. I'm trying to think how long we've been going. Sorry, here I'm just gonna check.
You're good.
Yeah, we can keep going for a little bit more. Trying to think where else to go.
I can keep working through the songs if you want.
Yeah, did we touch on all of them or?
I don't think so. Yeah,
No?
the big one obviously is the last one.
Yeah.
Breathe. That's like my favorite song I've ever written.
Nice, dude. Yeah, it's one of my favorites too on the album for sure.
Yeah, because like I know I would not have gotten through everything that I went through without the people that I have, and so that song is like for them and about them, and that song's really important to me.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. Yeah, you can tell too. It's like it's very clear. It's very emotional just to listen to. And you strike such a good balance of talking about your experience, but celebrating as well, just like the human struggle being overcome by the ones you love, helping you, everybody working together to get through that. And that's like definitely like one of the top 5 like fucking crazy struggles that like most intense struggles to have to face, especially when it's like someone young, you know.
Yeah.
So that's it's seriously so special. I hope this reaches far and wide, because it's definitely one of those albums that that carries that just that powerful spirit. Do you
Appreciate
ever?
it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Do you ever feel? I'm trying to think how to word this. How have you dealt with the like? I feel like one of the hardest things I can imagine is just. Did you ever get bitter and angry at the world and feeling like it was unfair that like you of all people had to experience that? Like I know I've heard people who have faced just incredible tragedy or struggle that come back to make something so to create. They usually, a lot of people do that who go through like immense suffering will come back and make like something extremely um create something, they'll I think a lot of people, that's why a lot of people who struggle the most become artists. So what how did you deal with that? How did like was it the people? I mean, I guess that's a lot of what you talk about in the um the album is like it was family, but
Yeah.
what the anger especially, like did you feel a lot of that?
Oh, absolutely. I don't know how you don't.
Yeah,
Um, and a lot of my worldviews have been changed over the past years because of it. I have a song in there called "Leave" about my. So I was raised Catholic.
same.
I was yeah. um, I was used to be very very devout, um, and this whole situation has changed that a lot. And I've struggled with my faith a lot, and I've always had problems with the Catholic Church and the stuff that they've done, and it's only emphasized it. And I still believe in God, but like we're not on complete speaking terms at the moment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a great way of describing it. You still feel
Yeah.
like it like that now, or do you feel like that's changed more since um beating it?
I still kind of feel that way. Yeah. I don't get so much angry that it happens to me. I actually have it's something I deal with is survivor guilt, where like I got a very treatable form of cancer and I was very, very lucky
Wow,
to have
that's great.
it. Um but I met a lot of people who aren't as lucky as I am. And I think that's the hardest, most frustrating part is like seeing it affect other people and knowing more people who have gone through it and that aren't as lucky as me. And watching my parents watch me go through it was like one of the hardest things.
Yeah.
Because I think like the love that parents can have when they do it right is like one of the strongest things on the planet. And so when that's tested, it's like fucking the worst thing ever. So yeah.
If you feel comfortable, where did that first happen, and how much did that affect? If you feel like talking about it, how much did that affect your ability to play music, and for how long? And
Like
is it
the treatment or
yeah, like well, the treatment, and I guess just the like that moment of finding out and going like did you just start feeling sick one day? I've not lost any close family members to cancer that I've like seen go through it or anything. I've had a friend's mom who did, but it was later stages that I saw her. So I imagine that's one of the hardest and scariest parts too, is just the very beginning of like finding out that there's been a shift.
yeah, it was weird, definitely. I was in shock for a while, I think, after it happened and like didn't really like I like knew and grasped it, but like didn't really feel it for a while. But they found it because I was actually preparing to do my college auditions for like musical theater and getting into schools, and I like to say that singing saved my life because I was in my voice lessons and I would just gather my breath to sing, and I'd come up short of breath, and I was having like just a pain in my chest, and I had started weightlifting around then. So like the doctors thought it was just like muscle pain from weightlifting.
Oh wow.
And I got sick with pneumonia at one point too. So they're like, oh, you're probably just struggling from pneumonia. But then they finally took an x-ray and found out that it was a tumor the size of an orange. So yeah,
Oh my gosh.
yeah. And
Wow. What kind
that's
what
weird.
type of cancer was it?
Lymphoma, T-cell lymphoblastic lymphoma.
Gotcha. Very scientific.
Yeah.
What's what's the so what is that like in your neck, or is are your lymph it's lymph nodes, right? That it would be, I'm guessing.
Yeah. there's lymph nodes in like different places in your body, and mine these are the ones that were like specifically like around my chest area, like center.
Gotcha. So is leave about, is that like quite literally about like leaving the Catholic Church? Have you like strayed away from being Catholic into where you're more like like a general Christian?
Yeah, I think that's fair. At least taking a break.
Yeah, that's fair.
I see it as the relationship I have is an abusive relationship with the Catholic Church, where there's not a lot of give on the other side to make the changes it needs in a relationship.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we share a similar hopelessness when it comes to that sect specifically. And I mean, all sects have their problems, but that one's the oldest, so it's had more time to fuck up more. But but yeah, I'm kind of at that place now. Although I will say I was always, yeah, the only thing I was ever exposed to was Christianity and Catholicism, and my parents weren't ever like militant about it. They were always like, they're very devout themselves, and we would go to church throughout like my childhood, but it slowed down the older we got, and especially because my older brother just wasn't as bought into it, and he didn't want to be forced to be bought into it. And I think just my so that's my oldest brother, and then my other older brother, he's still I think considers himself a devout Christian, but none of us really go to church anymore. My parents still consider themselves Christian, but it's definitely become more for the ones of us. I consider myself more spiritual at this point, just because I really am fascinated by religion from like a storytelling standpoint for sure, and I think that's
Oh, me
extremely
too.
important and
Absolutely.
valuable. But it is hard to reconcile like committing to a whole church, especially for me, and I'm sure for you. It sounds like that. Yeah, especially I just feel like you start to. I don't know. I think art's a big part of it too, because it just makes me feel so much more connected to like people that I don't usually relate to. That it makes me want to learn about them as well. And in learning all these other things, I'm like, I'm only going to follow something if it's like if it feels totally right, and
Right.
all of them feel like they have aspects of being right. So why not just I tend to do that, pull from different aspects of what I I think are good traits of human nature, and
Absolutely.
try to
There's truth
learn. Go ahead.
in different places.
What's that?
There's truth in all sorts of different places.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly. And I think but that is it's such a hard transition, because I think there's definitely a comfort, which can be good and bad, that comes from the community of religion, and just the general feeling it gives you of being able to lean on something, like something bigger than yourself, especially in the most trying times. And I think that was definitely coming to college for me. That was something that I was figuring out, was how to fill that new void, even though it felt like it was something that needed to be let go of. I was like, well, I got to find something. So I think art's been a great. I definitely feel the same way, and about it. It's definitely. I think it's personal experience, like I think it's fun. It's good to talk about and figure out how we're all going to treat each other and stuff. And we have to, but if people want to call themselves a Christian and do it differently, as long as they can be critical of things, I think that's really the most important part. So
Absolutely. There's just got to be. I think there's so many great things that religion does and what institutions can do, but you've got to. I don't know if I buy into the whole infallibility of everything.
yeah, exactly.
Checks and change.
Yeah, definitely. That's awesome. I'm excited to go re-listen to that one, because I think I was wondering, I think I was more kind of being abstract about and trying to see how that related to your experience of battling cancer, was thinking of Resting Road and Leave. I'm excited to go back and listen to it, especially from like knowing your religious background too. That's why I would love to do this I love doing this with artists, because that's so much of what makes art fun to me isn't even like always the projects. It's reading the articles and like watching the interviews and stuff, of learning about because everybody's going to pull their own thing, and make their own stories, which is great too. But that just shows like the depth of something when you feel that interest to go deeper and keep learning all the background stories to it. So that'll change my listen permanently now, to get to go back, and I'll relate in new ways for sure. And listening to Leave, of thinking of that experience of struggle with faith.
Yeah.
But so Yeah, I think we've covered everything, honestly. With the
Yeah. I think. Did we miss any? Oh, did we do dopamine dance?
I think we did. We kind of brushed over it, which is insulting. I'm sorry.
No,
That's a great one.
yeah. Yeah, that one's about antidepressants.
Okay, gotcha. Because I know I saw a video where you talked about it right before you played it, and you said it was something about how it does it affect everybody in that way, where it's like taking a bunch of caffeine, or is it like a genetic thing to where it affects
I
people?
mean, the one that I took like was on and it totally did what it needed for me. Like once it leveled out, like it was super helpful and I'm glad I was on it for the time that I was on it. But like when I was first on it, that just it's a big upper. Like it's a big like get you up and doing things and
Interesting.
really did that when I first started taking it.
Yeah. Did you write that song while on them?
I wrote that song when I started feeling that. Like I started, so one of the ways I write songs is I'll just like free write what's going on in my brain, like just spell it out on a paper, and then I'll come back to it later and turn it into lyrics. And I think I was just like, holy crap, there's so much my brain going on in my brain that I just need to spill it all on the paper and get it down. Later, I turn that into it.
Nice. What does that usually look like for the first move? Is it like a melody that you're strumming out, or is it like vocals that you're humming?
Um, it's different for each song, I'd
That
say.
makes sense. That makes sense. Heck yeah. Was that one specifically though? Like, what was you said that when you sat down and wrote something with the lyrics first? Then
Yeah, I think so.
nice. It's probably hard to you start to lose track. So when did not to jump too much, we don't have to go too deep into it, but with the EP, like I think that was already out by the time I'd met you. Um which is funny because I feel like I listened to that more than I'd talked to you. So you were definitely like you're like just a musician, like an artist I listened to. It's someone like I actually knew. Uh but what so if the, what are a lot of those ones about then? Like was there you said those are all just
they're personal, but so like the first song on there, "Golden Lives," is the first song I ever wrote. Um,
nice.
song just about being grateful for things,
Nice.
and not taking things for granted. Perspective is another song about my. I wrote that while I was like going through the worst parts of my treatment.
Oh wow. That's what you're cool. That was like I mean not cool, but cool that you I was gonna ask you of you what that if you were making stuff while you're going through treatment and stuff, or if that was something you had to take a break from and get away from. Was it something you kept doing, battling through and
Yeah,
nice.
definitely. But
That's
that song was the first time I ever wrote anything about that, and that song is just about like trying to find positivity in things while you're going through something bad. And a lot of the verses are about like just me trying to describe the symptoms in poetic ways and like figuring out like what does this mean and
mm-hmm.
stuff. One of the first very personal songs. That's one of my favorite songs I've ever written, Perspective, and I love playing
I
it.
like that one a lot too. I think that was the first one I heard.
Yeah.
Did you write any of those before you'd started going through treatment?
Oh yeah, Golden Lives and We Are Saints I wrote in like middle school.
Oh wow, dude. That's surreal. Those have to have, especially recording it after, because this was all the EP was recorded after your treatment too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's wild. That's got to be a crazy feeling. Max would talk to me a lot about that too, so I keep bringing him up. But he's definitely my music sensei, so it always revolves back to him for me. But that's he talks about a lot of. I made a documentary on him about him and his dad. Who was also a musician. Have you ever heard of Prisoner, the Cincinnati band?
Yeah, totally.
Nice. His dad was the bassist for that band.
Oh,
And
really? That's cool.
yeah, yeah. And he so I made a doc on him, and he would like I got to learn more about his music and stuff he was working on. My cousin, that is. And to talk about stuff of being like when he was younger and stuff, and like a lot of these are old songs that he had written, and it's just so weird. I can't imagine what something like to have that kind of mentality back then and to have made that song about appreciating things. Like I'm sure it hits even harder now. It's so strange how it's great that they do that you have like you gain a new I'm sure you hear it differently now, and it probably means so much more to you as time passes by, especially like to come up with something like that before going through that experience. But
It's a good reminder to myself. Yeah, to like try to like that's a song that's I think a good lesson a younger me teaches me.
yeah, dude, that's rare too. Like there's only a few things I can think of from when I was younger, to where I'm like, hey, I had my head on right there. But
Yeah.
it's great it's a great reminder. You need that in life, I think, to be able to look back and be like, you know what, I was getting that right, and that's like that is a part of me. That's something like I feel like really it captures the essence of what I stand for and what I believe in, and having that solid foundation, I think is it really helps you carry through life as it gets harder. You know,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Hell yeah. There's something else I was gonna ask. I can't remember what it was. Um, I'm shutting down. uh,
We covered a lot.
what's that?
We covered a lot, so
We have, dude. I feel great about it. Honestly, dude, if you want, unless there's anything else, I think we've been going for like an hour now. But I would love to do one again if you want to keep talking. If there's anything else you want to go into, I'm having a great time, so I'm open to it. I don't think any of it's going to be boring. So,
yeah, I would love to. This is super chill. I love it.
oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, in that case, I think let's go ahead and we can wrap it up. Do you want to give any? You want to give any plug yourself at all?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, you can listen to my new album, Aspects of Adjustment, on Spotify, Apple Music, uh, Amazon, all the different streaming services. I have links to get physical copies and T-shirts on my Facebook and Instagram and stuff. Yeah, follow my Instagram, my Facebook, David Bayes Music. Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude. Great. What song? Do you know what song you want to have featured on the episode yet?
On this episode,
Yeah, you don't have to choose right now, but unless you feel
is
like,
it supposed to be one of my songs or someone else's song?
yeah, yours. It can be yours. Anytime I have a musician on, I'll always use yours, and I'll use yours if you're not on sometimes too, if you're wanting to.
I would probably do Another Chance to Breathe just because that's like the lead.
When you're pushing the most.
Yeah.
Nice.
That one or Dopamine Dance. I'll let you decide between those two.
Okay, cool. Sounds good, dude. Well, thanks a
Yeah.
bunch, man. That's a lot of fun. I can't wait to share it with everybody.
Hell yeah, dude. Thanks for having me. Super cool.
Oh
Miss
yeah,
you.
miss you
Yeah.
too, man. Let's hang out when all this goes down. I'll set or once it all resolves. I'll probably wait a couple weeks just because I'm still skeptical about them reopening the state. I'm like, I
Oh,
get
me
it,
too.
but I'm also like, I mean, I get they're going to do it slowly too. I heard Georgia's like literally just reopening the whole state, which sounds ludicrous, but we'll see. I guess they get to be the guinea pigs, unfortunately, but they seem to want to. So
yeah.
yeah, I'll probably trap myself a little bit longer, but yeah, we should definitely hang out soon and chat some more.
Love that.
Oh yeah, dude. Right on. Well, stay safe, stay healthy, keep
Yeah, you too.
keep enjoying yourself. Don't get stir
Okay.
crazy. There's always
Yeah.
things to do.
Hell yeah, dude.
Right on, man. I'll see you later. Take it easy.
Yeah, you too. Thanks.